Any idea of value?
Well, I'd give you 100 quid.
Welcome to WatchMojoUK, and today we're counting down our picks for the hideous Antiques Roadshow items with high valuations.
I did a quick measurement of it, and it's around about 16 carats, which is...
Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.
Number 8. The Toad.
He's been known as Ugly Toad to me for about 60 years. I don't know a lot about him, but my mother collected unusual items.
Now here's a face only a mother could love. This piece had been in its owner's family for generations, but neither he nor his partner were so keen on it. You may guess that this three-legged yellow toad was imported from another country, but you'd be wrong. It was actually brought into being by 18th century Scottish hands.
Or based on a Chinese kind of mythical toad. The myth is that the three-legged toad would turn up at your house in full moon to predict an event, usually sort of, good fortune or wealth.
Yes, it was fashioned after a Chinese three-legged frog of fortune, but its origins are from Dunmore. As such, it was priced at a tidy £900. After hearing that valuation, this little fella is actually starting to look quite cute.
Do you like him a little bit more now?
Yes.
Good.
Number 7. The Tea Canister.
It was my grand's, and when she died, my mum popped it in the bottom of the kitchen cupboard. So that's where it was till Mum died.
Dull is perhaps the word that best describes this little tea storage jug, but you should avoid commenting on the looks of the gentleman on it, as that would be high treason. What this guest didn't know was that this was actually a commemorative piece from 1761 for the coronation of King George III.
So, on one level, it's a boring little cream-coloured pot, but it is a piece of early commemorative pottery. And there are so many collectors out there whose dream it is to have a commemorative piece at this early date.
Though expert Fergus Gambon was unsure of its creator, he was confident in its sizable cost. He estimated it would go for up to £3,000 if it went to auction.
That was an afterthought to bring that. I just wondered what it was. That's amazing, isn't it?
Number 6. Face Jug.
It's always good to see an old face on the roadshow, especially the very distinctive stoneware faces we're sometimes lucky enough to feature.
We can barely stand to look at this thing. When this guest brought in her collection of ceramics, they seemed a little plain for the untrained eye. Well, except for one of them.
Not necessarily a face you'd want to bump into on a dark night, is it? Let's be frank with you.
But any expert will tell you that Martin Brothers pottery is some of the most in demand in the antiques world. In fact, they're going to appear on this list again. Still, we simply can't forgive them for creating this atrocious face jug. But that smug look on its face is one that is self-assured of its high price tag, which Eric Knowles suggested would be up to £2,000.
The face on each side is a dead ringer for my mate, Henry Sandon.
Number 5. Glass bird jar. This looks less like an antique and more like something you'd spot in the discount section in IKEA. But if you ever spot something like this in a second-hand store, grab it. This ornament, which was given to this guest's sister as a wedding present, is surprisingly of high esteem. It's from a collection of similarly goofy birds designed by Alessandro Pianon, a well-known Venetian architect.
Pianon was an architect, but I sort of think when you look at this, is he approaching this with an architect's mind, the way the form is made?
Yeah.
In fact, this particular bird is the most sought after of the lot. Will Farmer, who had purchased one in the past, said that this little fellow could be sold for £7,000.
And this is the best one.
Oh, wow.
And I know how much these are worth because this was the last one that I bought.
Number 4. Unattractive ring. This item is so dull, the guest didn't even want to bring it onto the show.
Hey, do you like it?
No. No, it is to me. I think it's an ugly hunk of glass.
Believing it to be ugly costume jewellery, she never even had a second thought about it. However, it turns out she was completely wrong about this yellowy chunk.
And it does have a very sort of Art Deco look to it, and this is great.
It is, according to Susan Rumfit, anything but glass. It's a sapphire. What's more, it's around 16 carats. The reason it looks so unappealing is because it's the second hardest gemstone after diamond, which gives it a glassy appearance. Whether she liked it or not, this gem ring could go for around £5,000 at auction.
That is actually is growing on me as I watch it.
Number 3. The Pelican. We'll be honest, when we first saw this item, we were glad it wasn't us who inherited it from our grandfathers. However, looks can indeed be deceiving. And it was quite a blessing for this guest. His grandfather spotted it in a doctor's office and simply asked for it. He was eventually granted it.
And he said, "Lovely pelican, Alfie, when you die, can I have your pelican?" And Alfie said, "Dear chap, of course you can."
As it turns out, the Pelican is a piece from the 1890s by the esteemed Dalton Lambeth factory.
But in the late 19th century, they turned to making art pottery, things that were simply made to please the eye.
Not bad, but how much is it worth? Well, according to expert Serhat Ahmet, you can get a cool £1,200 for it.
Am I correct in thinking that he's supposed to stop untoward people entering my life? As a gargoyle, was that the idea?
Yes, I suppose it would be.
Didn't quite work.
Number 2. Doll?
I must admit that this is the most interesting and unusual doll I've seen on my 36 years of the roadshow.
We've seen enough horror movies to be able to spot a haunted doll when we've seen one. But this creepy item from 1715 actually has a much more tragic backstory. As it turns out, it's not a doll at all, but rather an effigy made of wax. It was almost certainly made following the tragic death of the Duke of Buckingham's 3-year-old son.
It was a sort of belief, I think, that they could be in touch with our ancestors through these effigies.
This was the norm for aristocrats and members of the monarchy at the time. You may be shocked to hear that despite its macabre origins, this piece was valued at a staggering £10,000 to £20,000.
I think we should put something like 10 to 20,000 on it.
Oh my God.
Number 1. That bird statue.
I can't help thinking of a phrase of my grandmother's. It's a face only a mother could love.
Truthfully, we don't think you could pay us to have this piece sitting atop our mantelpiece. But that's why Stephen Moore is the antiques expert, and we're just watching from home. This hideous bird looks outright haunted, but beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
We were terrified of it. Definitely couldn't sleep with it in there.
As it turns out, this is actually a part of the Martin Brothers' Wally Bird collection, which are highly sought after tobacco jars from London in the late 1800s and early 1900s. He has a name too, Ernie. But how much is Ernie worth? Well, just £4,000 in this condition, but had he been undamaged, he would have been valued at a jaw-dropping £70,000. What's the ugliest ornament in your house? Let us know in the comments below.
If it was a doll, it would be quite different. But it's historical.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojoUK and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.